My research on rodeo led me to find out some pretty interesting things about 90210. We'll talk about all of that throughout this video, but one important thing to mention now is that 90210 samples this 1970s Italian blues song called Itinerario Romantico by Rigol and the Blue Sharks. I also found a bunch of helpful information about this song on Google and Toombat, which ended up helping me later. Something I noticed during research is that this sample is basically looped over and over again for the beat switch on 90210, which is the part that most people remember when they think about how legendary this song is. Even though it's looped over and over again throughout, it sounds like a masterpiece because the producers did something that I refer to as soundscape templating. This is basically when a short song sample is used as a foundation to create a full musical work, to the point where the sample could actually be removed without ruining the musical competency of the song. Kanye West and Tyler the Creator are notoriously good at doing this, and I've even gone over how they go about doing this in a separate tutorial which you can watch here. Now that I had an idea of how I'd be approaching this beat, I could go find my sample and get started. Off to TrackLib I went and started searching, and searching, and searching. I did find a lot of cool stuff, don't get me wrong, but nothing was really speaking to me the way I imagined that the Itinerario Romantico sample spoke to Travis when he first heard it. So I decided to take a break and do some research for another episode, the upcoming Honestly Nevermind tutorial doubleheader that I'm working on. And that's when I found it, boys. This godly sample by Shuko and Batsy. So I did end up using the loop by Shuko, even though I initially wanted to use a more old school song. But this just fit the vibe so perfectly. I mean, listen to this. So now that I have my sample, I could move on to creating my soundscape around it. First, I chopped out the parts of the sample that I liked the most and then created a loop that we could then layer everything else around. Then I pitched it down 200 cents or 2 semitones, bringing the key from B minor to A minor. I did this just so that we could more accurately match the vibe of 90210, which is also in A minor. For the same reason, I also brought the tempo down from 85 beats per minute to 81 beats per minute. See, man, that research always comes in handy. Here's what I came up with. For effects, I just added this EQ to get rid of some unwanted frequencies, and then I added a reverb with these settings. Now we can start layering the melodies and creating our soundscape. I started with this bass from Analog Lab. It's an emulation of the Prophet bass and it's so good, a legitimate go-to patch for me. Here's the pattern I came up with. Now we can move on to the lead guitar. The lead guitar in 90210 is probably the most noticeable melodic element that isn't the sample. Now, I am no Mike Dean, so there's no easy way for me to emulate that. But I tried my best using this fuzz guitar patch from the clavinet in Analog Lab. Here's what I laid down. For effects, I added hardcore, which is FL Studio's stock guitar rig plugin. Here are the settings that I used. Then I added this EQ to cut out some unwanted frequencies. I added this reverb with these settings, and I added another EQ to make cuts to prevent the lead guitar from performing in the same frequencies as the sample. Here's how our layered sample sounds now.